Greetings, I'm FruitNut, and thanks for stopping by. This is a series that takes a look at what DPS the classes of Vanilla WoW can do at specific gear levels. We'll be looking at 3 points in Vanilla. Pre-raid gear, which is gear from dungeons and quests, then gear at the end of BWL progression, and finally the best in slot gear for all of Vanilla. I do my testing on a private server. This means that the damage you see in this video may not be accurate to what we'll see when Classic releases. I want to test every DPS spec that was available at the time, and for this video, we'll be looking at the Elemental Shaman. We will be going 31 points into Elemental and grabbing Elemental Mastery. This causes your next damaging spell to be a crit and costs no mana. There is another build that does not get Elemental Mastery, but instead goes 1 point into Resto and grabs Nature Swiftness, which causes your next Nature spell to be instant. This lets you have an emergency button for an instant heal, or allows for an instant lightning bolt or a chain lightning. Both spells are useful, and they're both on a 3-minute cooldown. So if you want some burst and reduction to mana usage, go Elemental Mastery. If you want more utility with an instant heal and being able to cast on the move, then go Nature Swiftness. Moving on, let's talk about some pros and cons to Elemental Shamans, starting with the pros. So firstly, Elemental Shamans, they shine in PvP with their burst potential, their ability to kite multiple enemies, using totems and Ghost Wolf. Elemental Shamans are great in dungeons with their burst AoE and off healing. And obviously, all Shamans bring amazing utility with totems, and they can save your time after wipe with their reincarnation ability. But for cons, I have 2 main issues with the Elemental Shaman. The most common one you'll hear is their mana problems. They do not have any spells outside of Mana Spring Totem that restores mana. This means that unless you are fully stocked on mana and runes, you'll be out of mana within the first few minutes with no way of getting it back. Mages have Evocation, Warlocks have Life Tap, Druids have Innervate, and so like the Priest, Shamans struggle with mana. The second issue with Elemental Shamans is their only main damaging spell is in the Nature School. The issue with this is that all the other schools of magic have a curse from Warlocks that reduce the resistance of the boss. So Curse of Elements reduces Fire and Frost resist, Curse of Shadows reduces Shadow and Arcane, and this means that Nature spells, by default, automatically are at a disadvantage, and this cannot be overcome until AQ 40 when gear that lowers spell resist on your target is available. This also means that if a mob is immune or highly resistant to nature, you don't have another spell that you can use to replace Lightning Bolt. So going back to the gear that lowers the resist of your target, so enemies in WoW have different levels of resists for certain schools of magic. I'm not sure how accurate the numbers on my server are that I use. Like for example, Patchwerk has 15 resist to all schools except Holy. And you may say, FruitNut, Nature isn't the only school without a curse, Holy doesn't have one. Well, that's true. Unfortunately for Nature, no mobs in all of WoW have resistance to Holy, so it doesn't matter. Oh well. Anyway, so Patchwerk has 15 Nature resist, and so do most, if not all, of the Nax bosses. But if we go to AQ, then we'll see some bosses with 75 resist, and most dragons have even higher than that. So this is all assuming, of course, that the server I use has correct values, which it may not. But all that being said, I went with enough gear to reach 75 resist reduction, and I think that's all you can really do. But enough talk. Let's see how well the Elemental Shamans can do in our 4-minute Patchwerk style fight. Here we go. And there we have it. Elemental Shamans do not have the best sustained damage. In shorter fights, Elementals can do great damage, but they have no way of getting their mana back once they use their potions. Shamans are a very strong hybrid class. It probably brings the best utility in the game, with Wind Fury and Mana-Tide Totem. And overall, the Shaman is a fun class that everyone will want to have in their group. Well, this will be the last video in the series before Classic is released. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. If I made a mistake and you would like to correct me, please let me know in the comments below. I will be making more videos in the future, and I will be streaming Classic when I have time. If I can find time, the next video will be focusing on the Arms Warrior. Thank you guys for all your support, and I hope you have a wonderful day.